Welcome to another installment of Deconstructing Babylon, where we discern the signs and symbols of the mystery religion of Hollywood Babylon. I'm the Discerning Clerk, and I use a biblical framework to deconstruct my favorite movies from the 90s. This is one of those rare times when I deconstruct a movie that isn't from the 90s, but it is most definitely one of my favorites. Moulin Rouge has long been one of those films I watch when I need to have a good cry. Plus, with February 14th coming up, what better movie than a love story? Since Moulin Rouge was released in 2001, it will not appear in the video movie guide. So let's check some reviews on IMDb. Our one-star review comes from user Marty16 and says, "I couldn't believe how bad this movie was. After anticipating an enjoyable perspective of a time in French history, Elton John, the Beatles, late 19th century France, decadence, consumption à la bohème, dizzying photography in the name of creativity. What were the producers of this disaster thinking? After about an hour and a half, that was it. I had to shut it off. What a waste of some very talented actors. Well, at least they are working. They weren't just working. All the actors did their own singing, something we don't see too often these days." Our 10-star review is from IMDb user Punch87, who writes, "It is a whirlwind of sound and imagery that wants nothing less than to suck you into its world of truth, beauty, and most of all, love. And beneath the pageantry, the breathtaking visuals, and the songs, that is what this movie is. A love story." I've said before this was my go-to crying movie, but I don't really need much help with that these days. What am I about to do to myself? Don't worry, I'll edit out any crying that may inevitably occur. Now, let's see what we see in Moulin Rouge. The movie begins, as many musicals do, with a song. This one, Nature Boy, sung by a morose Baroque clown, who we will eventually know as Henri-Marie Raymond Toulouse-Lautrec Montfort, or simply Toulouse. He introduces the main artist, Christian, who lives in a seedy part of Paris called Montmartre. Christian is mired in his grief, and as an outlet, he writes down his tragic love story.
The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Christian's story takes place at the Moulin Rouge, a nightclub and brothel, where he meets his love, Satine.
The woman I loved is...
Whoa, spoiler alert. Christian's view from his apartment is the Moulin Rouge, which also seems to have died without its sparkling diamond. He tells the story from the beginning, when he first came to Paris to be a part of the Bohemian Revolution. He quickly meets an oddball group of artists, including the aforementioned Toulouse. This is the only character based on a real person, who was an artist, the commissioned painter of several posters for the Moulin Rouge cabaret, though it's doubtful he lived in Paris at the turn of the century.
With Christian, we can write the truly Bohemian Revolution we show that we've always dreamt of.
Christian gets in with this group based on his natural songwriting talent. They are writing a totally unique show commissioned by the owner of the Moulin Rouge, Harold Zidler. They all need a bit of liquid courage in the form of neon green absinthe. Absinthe has a checkered history. At this time, around the turn of the century, it was often used as a powerful psychoactive hallucinogenic, but it was originally intended to be used for medicinal purposes. Trust me when I say I am not surprised this highly debated alcoholic substance is bright Disney villain green. The motley crew head to the Moulin Rouge, and Christian's descent into debauchery continues. We meet owner and pimp Harold Zidler, who performs with his Diamond Dogs to a packed house.
Outside it may be raining, but in here it's entertaining!
The whole thing is an orgy for the senses, and finally, the showstopper, Satine, descends from above like a glittering angel.
The sparkling diamond.
Christian, in his narration, recounts another man that Satine was meant to seduce that night.
The Duke.
The Duke is the money behind the play that Christian is meant to write, the Bohemian Revolutionary Spectacular Spectacular.
After her number, I've arranged a special meeting, just you and Mademoiselle Satine. Totally alone.
It becomes a case of mistaken identity, and Satine believes Christian is the Duke, the one she is meant to seduce.
So wonderful of you to take an interest in our little show.
Just as Satine is finishing her performance, we get our first clue that all is not well with her, and she falls from a great height, collapsing into the crowd.
Don't know if that Duke's gonna get his money's worth tonight.
We will eventually learn that Satine has consumption, or what they now call tuberculosis, and this highly contagious disease was responsible for approximately 25% of deaths in the 18th and 19th centuries. Anyway, Satine rallies for the sake of the show and meets Christian in her exotic elephant-shaped loft. She thinks she's seducing the Duke to finance the show, and he thinks he's auditioning as the new writer of the play. And the two practically fall in love over a song.
I'm in love. I'm in love with a young, handsome, talented Duke.
Duke.
Not that the title's important, of course.
I'm not a Duke.
Then the Duke really does show up for his promised rendezvous with Satine, desperate to get Christian out somehow.
How's the rehearsal going?
They manage to fool the Duke for now and get his money to fund the show with new writer Christian attached.
That's why he's so keen to invest.
Invest?
Satine doesn't just want to stay a call girl, but she has aspirations to be a real actress on the stage, and falling in love might interfere with those plans.
I can't fall in love with anyone.
Can't fall in love.
But they do fall in love and begin a clandestine relationship during rehearsals. Meanwhile, the Duke makes a deal with Harold wherein he will fully finance the play, but that he will have ownership of the Moulin Rouge and exclusive rights to Satine. The Moulin Rouge will undergo extensive renovations to transform it into a legitimate theater and Satine into a legitimate actress. Harold discovers the affair and forces Satine to meet with the Duke, lest he lose everything.
Duke is expecting you in the tower at 8.
Instead of meeting with the Duke, or blowing him off to be with Christian as usual, Satine has another consumption attack. Harold then learns the truth about Satine's condition, but doesn't tell her.
Mademoiselle Satine is dying. She has consumption.
Christian doesn't believe Satine when she tells him she was sick. He gets jealous, thinking she was with the Duke. Christian says he will understand. He knows who Satine is, and he writes a secret love song that reminds them both of their commitment to one another.
I don't like this ending.
The show has echoed the plot of the movie, and the Duke wants the courtesan in the play to end up with the rich guy, and not the poor man who is her true love.
Promise to me you wouldn't be jealous.
Satine goes to the Duke to ease his suspicions and save the show as it is written. But she can't go through with it, and the Duke shows he can be a severe man. She and Christian agree to run away together, and the show will not go on. As she's packing, Harold tells her that if she leaves, the Duke will have Christian killed. She says she's not afraid, so Harold then tells her the devastating news that she has no future to look forward to.
You're dying.
Harold tells Satine to send Christian away, to make him believe she doesn't love him, so that he will leave on his own and save himself from the wrath of the Duke.
We're creatures of the underworld. We can't afford to love.
So, the show will go on. Cast and crew all furiously get ready for opening night. Frankly, it's hard to believe they will be ready at all. Satine heads to see Christian to break his heart and save his life. She doesn't tell him she's sick. She doesn't tell him about the deal Harold made with the Duke or the threat against his life. She doesn't tell him the truth about anything.
The truth is, I am the Hindu courtesan. And I choose the Maharaja.
Spectacular Spectacular opens the next night to a full house by some miracle. The Hindi-themed show is, well, spectacular. Christian sneaks backstage, steals a costume, and confronts Satine on stage, in front of the large crowd.
This woman is yours now. I've paid my whore.
Satine perhaps realizes that life is too short, and she sings their secret love song.
Come back to me and forgive everything.
The Duke starts to storm out in a rage, but then tries to kill Christian as a last resort. Harold quickly stops him, and he finally admits defeat. The curtain goes down, but so does Satine.
Tell a story, Christian.
Everyone backstage watches as Satine dies in Christian's arms, as the audience on the other side go wild, completely unaware of what's happening to the star.
A love that will live forever.
The final image is the words, "The End," on the page, and the curtain closes. We may be tempted to think that because the main character's name is Christian, that he represents a Christ follower, or even Christ himself. And we can maybe keep that idea in the backs of our minds, but I highly doubt that's what we've seen. And you might even say, but Clerk, Satine's name sounds like Satan. And that's true. Her red hair, her siren-like nature, her fallen angel status, we saw in the beginning are all indicators she has qualities of the enemy. But she died, not Christian. I think what we actually witnessed was very subtle duality and false worship of multiple gods, as the Hindu religion does. If Christian was a symbol of the Messiah, he never would have suggested the Indian-style play. The subtle duality was between the rich and the poor, and desperately trying to blur those lines. Christian was often seen in dual black and white. He clearly came from an aristocracy, but chose to be penniless for the sake of his art. The women of the Moulin Rouge also represent the poor of their day, selling their bodies to the rich and powerful of the city, including Satine. There was also sun and moon duality. The full moon was featured in numerous shots, and most of the action takes place at night. Yet dead center of the red mill that spins outside the brothel is the image of a sun. Satine is the sun, the sparkling diamond that makes the Moulin Rouge work. When she dies, the mill stops spinning. It seems that the Duke, not Christian, is the moon. His room washed in blue, the opposite of Satine in every way. Desperate to be with her, but never able to be.
Duke! Don't you toy with my emotions. You must know the effect you have on women.
And while we might be tempted to believe the Duke is also the villain here, I'm going to suggest that the real bad guy is Harold Zidler. He who finds himself bridging the gap between the rich and the poor, the sun and the moon. The one who profits off the lust of his clients and the desperation of his charges. And while they kept insisting that jealousy was driving Christian mad, it was really Harold who was so insanely jealous of Satine, of her falling in love, of the Duke pursuing her. So much so that he manipulates and gaslights her into doing what he wants.
Things aren't always as they seem. Things are exactly the way they seem.
And since Satine seems to be the only one who gets the highly contagious tuberculosis, I would also suggest that the anxiety Harold caused her was the direct result of her becoming sick and ultimately dying. His jealousy was all-consuming. That's why it's consumption.
And in the end, should someone die?
The last thing I'll say doesn't have anything to do with the plot or symbolism or anything like that, but the accents. The film takes place in Paris, a French-speaking city. And apart from a few words here and there, including the title, nothing was in French. The characters didn't even speak with a French accent. Christian gets a pass because his character is from London, but even Ewan McGregor is Scottish. Nicole Kidman is Australian. Jim Broadbent is British. John Leguizamo is Colombian. Richard Roxburgh, the Duke, is also Australian, as well as the director Baz Luhrmann. And the narcoleptic Argentinian is Polish. Was there even a dialect coach involved in the production? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It just bugs me, that's all. So that's enough for today. Thank you so much for being here, for enduring to the end. Give the video a thumbs up if you agree and a thumbs down if you disagree. Comment below what you think I missed with this one and to suggest any 90s movie you'd like me to deconstruct in the future. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this, but don't follow me. Follow the one who saves you. And until next time, keep looking up.
A magnificent, opulent, tremendous, stupendous, gargantuan bedazzlement. A sensual ravishment. It will be spectacular, spectacular.